First up, he plays the twin whose death started it all, Jason Blossom. Please welcome Trevor Stines.
Hello, I'm here,
Trevor.
and I'm speaking for once.
You are speaking. There you are. Next, hit those emojis for our next guest. She plays a bad gal with a sweet, sweet name, Peaches and Cream, Bernadette Beck.
Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to do this.
Hi, welcome.
Thank you.
And last but not least, he plays a dad that would send any kid to a lifetime of therapy, Hal Cooper. Please welcome Lochlyn Munro.
Hey, everyone.
Hi, Lochlyn.
Hello there. How is everyone? Thanks for hanging out with Trevor and Bernadette and myself, and we're looking forward to chatting with you guys all about our amazing experiences on such a fun show called Riverdale. So, looking forward to it.
Absolutely. And yes, thank you again for being here. We're so excited to chat with you. One of the things I wanted to ask you guys as a fan myself is, since most of us have been home for so many months, we've been watching a lot more TV, Riverdale obviously being one of them. But I wanted to know, before we dive into amazing fan questions that I already see coming in, what do you think your character would be binging right now? Let me start with you, Trevor.
I think to keep it in the CW family, would you say maggots?
Oh, you are underground, aren't you? I don't know.
I feel like Jason, he's a Vampire Diaries, the originals kind of guy. I don't know why. I just feel that vibe.
And he could even legacies. He's got plenty of options.
Yeah, wow.
Keep it going. Mm-hmm. Bernadette, what do you think your character would be binge watching?
That's a good question. I think Peaches would probably binge watch Euphoria. I think I personally love Euphoria, but yeah, I think she's a Euphoria girl. Yeah.
That's cool.
Lochlyn, what about your character? I'm almost scared to ask. How to Get Away with Murder.
Yeah, really, huh? Well, I'd probably have to really binge watch that because it didn't work out so well, did it? I think after seeing how they wrote my character in prison, I think I have Silence of the Lambs on speed dial, right?
Just on a loop, yep.
On a loop, yeah.
That's fitting, I feel. Okay, so if you guys are ready, we can dive right into the fan questions. So Charlotte Walton, she says, hello, I'm from England and I have a question for the cast. She wants to know if you guys read the comics or knew about your characters before you auditioned.
Who wants to go first?
Should I go ahead? So I did not, I actually wasn't too familiar with Archie comics before the show. I am a huge comic book fan. I've been, reading comics my entire life. So I knew what Archie was, and I knew the basics, Betty, Jughead, Veronica, Archie. I knew, just the very basics. But it wasn't until after the show came along that I dove deep into Archie history. I started with some of the more recent runs, like the one by Mark Waid, and obviously Roberto's Afterlife with Archie and things like that. And then kind of read up on the history of it.
I'll go next. So when I was growing up, I was a big Archie comics fan. That's probably the only comics that I've actually read. Probably because they used to sell them if you're waiting in the grocery line, just right by the till, the cash register area. So I'd always grab one every single time we'd go grocery shopping every Sunday. And it was I had a whole collection. I actually still have it. And it was just this most comforting thing. I don't know what it was about the Archie comics. It was just so cool to sort of see what high school would be like. Maybe I was 10 or 11 and high school was nothing like that. At least for me. Anyways. So then I used to, and then I would watch the show for sure. And I did season 1, season 2, and then things got really busy. And then of course ended up auditioning. So I was pretty familiar, but Peaches is not in the comics or anything. So it was just sort of the creation of the writers. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
An original character.
Yeah.
OC, please don't steal.
For me, well, given my age, I grew up way back on watching or reading the book, the comics, Archie, Betty, Veronica, Jughead. I knew of Hal Cooper. Just the parents weren't really featured a lot in the comic books. I mean, they were there, but not really featured. But it's interesting for me because I actually met to play Fred Andrews.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Wow.
Yeah. So I met to play Fred Andrews, and then they went with this new guy, Luke Perry, who just on the scene,
Yeah, fresh off the boat.
And they just felt like, hey, let's give this guy a shot. He's probably been, in the trenches for a long time. And so to tell you the truth, I didn't even know that Hal Cooper was in the script because I just got a call saying, hey, they decided to go with another route for Fred. Would you be interested in playing Hal Cooper? And I was like, Hal Cooper? God, I can't really remember Hal Cooper that much. And so they kind of explained to me what was going to go on, which obviously was way different than sort of the direction of the character, because I didn't even know I was a Black Hood until I revealed it to the family in the home video. So,
yeah, I was like, I don't think any of us knew during season 2, like what that was.
Which was kind of a drag, right? Because I became the Black Hood, and then I was like, oh, I didn't really get to play him. So I was a little bummed out about that. So I kept telling them, I said, can I play the Hood one day? I'll do it for free. I just want to feel what it's like to be in the Black Hood. So I wanted to be able to be the one chasing Betty around the school with my new hook and everything, right? And they were like, well, no, it's stunts. And I'm like, come on, I just need to play him once. So I didn't. So Hal Cooper was something that we just started this journey on right from the get-go, right from the pilot, and I still don't know if Hal Cooper's journey is over. No one's ever actually told me, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that was actually one of the fan questions that was sent in by Rhonda Ann Smith. She wanted to know, or I'm sorry, that was a different one. Shout out to Rhonda anyway. They wanted to know, it was Charlotte Walton, wanted to know if you knew that you were going to be playing that role.
No, they keep everything tight to the vest for the 4 years I was on. We had no idea. To tell you the truth, we all would sit around in the cast tent and try to figure it out. And I always thought it was Keller. I always thought it was Sheriff Keller.
Yeah, it was the same way with the Jason Blossom murder mystery, where we were all just kind of around set tossing. Yeah,
because to tell you the truth, I have a feeling I was really close to being the one who was supposed to have killed. I
think so too. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they switched that. So. Yeah, they don't like the Canadian dads on the show, so they get rid of us quickly. No, I'm kidding.
I definitely thought it was Hal Cooper that had killed Jason in season 1. Yeah, that was a big theory over at PureFandom.com.
The red herring, yeah.
So go ahead.
So
I was just going to say we love hearing all these stories.
Yeah, it's fun for me to hear Bernadette and Trevor talk too, because honestly, Bernadette was on the show after I'd left, and Trevor, we just see each other. Again, a lot of my storylines were always in the Cooper house or just with Betty and Alice. So man, that's why I used to love doing all of the big community scenes when we'd all be at the community center and stuff, because then I'd get to see Skeet and Mark and Marisol and Robin. All the people that I've known for years. So that was kind of fun.
It's like a reunion at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So it's kind of fun to be on this with you guys, because I never really had a chance to talk about your experiences on the show as well. So it was similar for me.
Obviously, most of my scenes are with Madeleine and the rest of the Blossom family, and so anytime that I did get to shoot scenes with some of the other cast members, it was really fun. It was kind of awkward, because I feel because I've known, obviously since we've been on the show, I've known everyone for years, but I didn't get to work or get as close to a lot of the cast members as they got with each other. It's when we were in the big group scenes, a lot of the time I just felt like a fish out of water. But it was
that's kind of how I was too, Trevor. Even though I was around a lot in all those seasons, I always felt a bit of an outcast, because I was never really sometimes when I was in the prison cell with Lily, I would shoot 2 episodes in one day.
Yeah,
because
I've
we
done
would
that
just
before
do
as well.
we would do all of those scenes so there was like a time there for 7 months that I didn't see anyone because I just would go and do the scenes in the jail cell, and Betty would come and talk to me, and that was it. So it was kind of weird, actually.
Yeah, I felt.
But I mean, you're such a. Oh, sorry.
I felt that way last season because I had showed up for like 402, and then I wasn't even on set for like, I feel like it was like almost a whole year. So when we came back, it was just like, I felt like I was like a totally different person. Everyone's like lives had changed, and it was like, hi, like you almost have like reintroduce yourself in a way.
Absolutely. And then for me, it was like every year, all of the hair and makeup people change, and so it was just I always had to come back and reintroduce myself to the hair and makeup team. I'm like, I play Hal Cooper. I mean, even getting on the lot, I'd have to like the security would stop me. I go, I'm actually on the show. They'd be like, where's your credentials, man? I'm like, I got to tell you the truth, I don't have any. So.
I feel you, man. I feel you.
That's for real. Oh man.
Well, and now with everyone taking an extended break, you're going to have to reintroduce yourself even a little bit more and introduce your new hobbies that you've acquired over these last few months, I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And we have a question that came in for Bernadette, and it's from Taylorva. Wants to know if we will see Peaches in season 5.
Ooh. Okay, well, because of the whole COVID-19 thing, we couldn't finish season 4. So we stopped at the prom episode, which I was in. And they're basically going to carry on season 4 and like the tail end of it. And whatever we have basically have left to shoot is going to be added on to season 5. So I'm thinking that they're probably going to do some type of like graduation episode. So technically, that's where you're going to see Peaches. But in terms of like the character overall, I mean, when I first auditioned for Peaches and Cream, like casting was just like making like a huge deal about like, the whole character. Like she was supposed to have like all this, potential. And obviously Riverdale was like looking to add some diversity. They wanted like a bi actress. And I know there's just been a lot of talk in terms of screen time, like for people of color, like on the show, and what Vanessa has actually, shared with all of us. And when I first got on the show, I was like, obviously, like I'm still like super grateful for, for the opportunity that I had. And I just thought it was going to be like this big thing. And then even the fandom kind of had that same sort of thought. And then it ended up just being considerably less. But then again, being like a reoccurring character, my situation is just so much smaller in terms of importance in comparison to Vanessa, who was like signed on as a series regular. And, we're all kind of expecting that she's going to kind of have like her own space on the show. Like typically you might get like a bedroom, there's like family, you're not just like this character just shows up on set and just is just there just for diversity. Like you've got your own world that comes along with you when you typically sign on as a series regular. And a lot of actors at that point are kind of like carrying the show to some extent. So I just want to kind of put out there that like I do stand with Vanessa and some of our other actors on this show. It's I think being in quarantine in a way, although it's been hard for a lot of us, I think it's allowed us to sort of self-reflect, because when you're working and you're auditioning and you're traveling, like it's so hard to create change, especially like as a global community where we can all kind of just sit down and be like, okay, this is what needs to happen. This is what we want to see. This is like the type of changes that we want to see in film and TV and just society in general. So I don't know what is in store for Peaches for season 5. In any way, I just want to see more for Vanessa's character. I think she deserves it. She's a wonderful actress. And, obviously the fandom just like absolutely adores her. And that's what I want to see for season 5 predominantly.
And we actually had another question about your character going forward, if we would get to see a backstory for Peaches. And that was sent in by that girl Minky on Instagram, who is a big fan of yours. She wanted us to let you know that. So speaking to, Vanessa's character getting a backstory, do you think that we'll get to see Peaches and kind of where she came from?
I don't know. I mean, that's really obviously up to the writers. Like I said, I think that it's Tony that needs a backstory. She's a series regular character. I was just signed on as reoccurring. I don't want to say that as an actor that we're always expecting or willing to accept less, because we just sort of we get the call, we're excited to show up on set, and we just are sort of at the whim of the writers. But at the same time, I just kind of know where I'm at in comparison to her, and she's been on the show for a lot longer than I have. And I want to see that for her more than anything. I mean, Peaches is a cool character and all, and it would have been nice to see a little bit of character development. I mean, I know there's a bit of a problem with some, actors of color where we're sort of depicted as just sort of this one-dimensional character. And I know Peaches probably came across a little bit like a hard shell. Like she would just sort of stand there, chewing her gum with all, the attitude. And it's a very stereotypical, and there's really no way I could have, shifted, far from that and really show, any kind of layers, or even show myself. I'm very different from the character. Oops, I think my internet connection is unstable. Hang on.
We still can hear you though, Bernadette.
Okay, cool. I just got this weird thing that just popped up. Anyway, so I have no idea what's going to happen for Peaches in season 5. But I think the most important thing is that we really focus on getting Vanessa what she deserves.
Absolutely. And well said. And thank you for speaking about that. I think it's a really important point, especially with everything on social media that we've seen from Vanessa at Pure Fandom. We really support her and the Black Lives Matter. So thank you. I appreciate that. Not to lessen anything we just spoke about or that you so eloquently put, Bernadette, but we do have some more fan questions for the fellas here who want to know a very important question for Trevor. What's it like to play a corpse?
It's the toughest job in the industry, I'll tell you that much.
When you're as handsome as Trevor, it really doesn't matter. Corpse, living, some people are just blessed.
Oh my Lord. What is it like it's really interesting. It's that's a question that I hear a lot from fans, is either what's it like to play a corpse, or what's it like to play a character who doesn't speak? And it's odd as an actor, because you think of acting, you think of dialogue, right? You think that's the meat of acting, is you do it in your dialogue, and when you don't have any, you just kind of, my friends used to tease me that I would go in on a set just to smile at the camera in slow motion, and then that was it. That was my paycheck.
It's all in the eyes, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's the smizing, it's the brow a little bit, but it is actually an interesting dynamic for me to have a performance and a place in a story where you aren't an active participant. You're where your character and your performance just kind of affects everything else. So it was more interesting for me to watch how the character developed through the backstory that they or the flashbacks and the backstory that they established, and see how those revelations affected the story moving forward, and obviously the fan response to it. The actual corpse part, laying down and being dead, it's hard. It's really hard to lay there and hold your breath. I don't want to I don't want to do that again. It's tough. I start to convulse if I don't breathe.
Yeah, that's natural. That's your body's crying for help at that point.
Your body's hey, we don't feel like dying right now. Let's get some oxygen.
Little oxygen over here.
Sure, the more you think about it too, the more you're aware of your breathing, and
because you're
stillness.
I have to be so still and I can't breathe, and it becomes it's tough.
And everything starts itching. You're
right, yeah, exactly. My left leg starts to feel really uncomfortable, and I just need to move it. One time, there was this one episode towards the tail end of season 1 where they dropped me in a freezer, an actual industrial sized top open freezer that they put me inside and then closed it for the shot. and I was just sitting inside this like coffin, essentially. Like, I'm not too claustrophobic, but when you're in a tiny space and they close the lid on you and it's just dark, you're just like, okay, all cut, please.
Yeah.
But it was fun. I mean, it's all fun. Yeah.
That's awesome. And Lochlyn, just a question for you about the Black Hood. I know you said you don't really know what the future holds for your character, but a lot of fans and Chester Chick want to know if you think he's really dead, because they don't.
Well, Chester, I tend to think that if you don't see a dead body, then chances are they're not dead. That's just what I think. Plus, you know, we've got the Blossom blood in us, which means twins. So who knows? Maybe right from the very get-go, I was never actually Hal Cooper. So maybe if I was never Hal Cooper, then the Black Hood wasn't Hal Cooper. And so, you know, I don't know if I can't say per se if the Black Hood will come back, but maybe Hal or his twin brother, if he has one, could, you know?
I love that.
So I don't know. Like I said, we all have theories as cast members because the writers do just keep everything. So, I mean, we sit there every week and, you know, after every 8 days, we do our read through for the next script. And most of us have a little gasp here or there, you know? So yeah, it's a funny thing. I mean, I know for me too, you know, getting back to what Bernadette and, you know, and with Trevor, you know, with Trevor's been on the show for 4 years, and man, it was like, you know, from the pilot episode, you know, I've never seen a dead person get so much airtime ever on a show, you know? So here, and I agree with Bernadette, absolutely. You know, I'd love to see more of Tony's character. You know, I always had these conversations with Roberta on set because as an actor, we all want that, right? We all want to be able to have a backstory. We all want storylines. I would have those. And man, you know, our show is just a tough show. There's 16 to 20 characters that they have to write 42 minutes. And unfortunately, you know, not unfortunately, but, you know, the Archie comics were always about Jughead, Veronica, Betty, and Archie, right?
Yeah, it's
so
sort of sorry.
And so it's a weird situation with that show because it's just so hard for everyone to get a backstory. Because I felt that same way. I did 3 years until my character became interesting, to tell you the truth, in the jail when I was the Black Hood. Other than that, I was just there I was berated by Alice every episode. That's all I had. I basically would go to say something and she would climb up one side of me and down the other. And that was my episode. So I do understand as an actor what that's like. And our show is just a really tough one to be able to give everyone what everyone wants, because it's just so many cast members. So on that side, and I'm a full supporter of all of what's going on. I totally agree that I'm embarrassed myself that I had this white privilege, because I've never saw a race. I really haven't. I have tons of people who are Asian, Black, you name it. But until now, I realized they're right. I didn't see that before because that was my privilege, which is crazy to me, right? Mm-hmm. And so I am all for everyone. And if I really narrow it down, Bernadette, to just all of us as just actors, I'm all for it, because that's what we all want, right? We don't want to just stand. I'm sure Trevor shows up on that set, you know, sometimes, because I used to feel bad for Trevor having to come in and like stand there and play the dead guy. And he's probably itching to go, can I just have like one episode where we do a flashback where I actually have like an interesting scene, you know? So it's tough. It's a tough thing. And, you know, all actors strive for to be able to perform and create characters. So,
yeah, you know. I totally hear you. And like you said, it's like we all just, you know, we all want that screen time, right? Sure. But I think the difference with what's been happening with Vanessa, well, let me just backtrack. I think my hope is that for season 5, it won't be as focused on the parents. Right. So I think there's going to be a little bit more space and more room to kind of give that to her. Mm-hmm. But I think the greater issue within our community is how we as Black people on film and TV are oftentimes just sort of used in a way for diversity. And we're very much like depicted very stereotypically. And as Vanessa was saying, like, we're not all thugs. We're not all like extremely like tough all the time. Mm-hmm. Like, we're just not getting the same diversity in terms of like who we are as people, right?
Absolutely.
And it's just not fair to just be kind of like on set and to always just be silenced. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the major thing. Like, yes, we as actors, we all want, screen time. We all want a story, but it's when it feels like you begin to you're just being used, for this sort of this quota for diversity on television shows. And after a while, I mean, when you're auditioning all the time, you get the breakdowns, you start seeing a pattern. You start seeing, we all get kind of typecast to some extent, but it's just much more narrow when you're a person of color. And it's not really right that our stories are not being told, because even though Riverdale is obviously like a fictional show, at the same time, it's still depicting high school, right? And a lot of people who are in high school, they're watching the show and they're looking at teenagers who are going through like teenage problems and all this drama with their family. And they want to see more than just someone who just stands there and just looks tough. Like,
Bernadette, it's funny that you say that, because my favorite season of the show has always been season 1, because it was all about character, right? Yeah. And then all of a sudden, a guy shoots Fred Andrews in the soda shop, and it all went that way. Like you were saying, like, all the kids all of a sudden weren't going to school; they were trying to hunt down a murderer. And I just felt like it was just so much more interesting when it was all about relationships and character. So I totally agree with you.
Yeah, and it will be great to see, like you said, Bernadette, to really hopefully see going forward a true reflection of what high school looks like, and the diversity that's actually in our everyday lives reflected on TV, even if it's, blown up into some fantastical maple syrup murder, whatever. I think it's going to be a great step and a deserved step. And I really am excited to see where it goes going forward. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I think we are getting close to the end of our time. So I wanted to ask you guys, we've had a few questions come in about the Luke Perry tribute episode and what that felt like to be a part of it as an actor, as a friend, as a fan of the show. We had that question come in from Taylorva. So I'll let each of you tell me what your thoughts on that one, like how that felt for you.
Yeah, I'll let Lochlyn go ahead, because I feel like you probably knew out of Luke the best out of any of us.
Mm-hmm. That was Luke and I'd been friends since because I started out in the film industry in Vancouver with Jason Priestley. And so when Jason got on the show in LA, we used to go out and visit them all the time. So Luke and I had actually been friends since we were 23 years old. It was always my favorite days, honestly, were always when I was able to be on set with Luke and or Skeet, two of my good friends. And so the news of his passing, as far as, when we knew that he had his, situation, and we were all just waiting to hear how he was doing, was, it was surreal. And it's like everything when you know someone well. And, I don't mean as Luke Perry, the celebrity. I just mean Luke Perry is the person who was just a genuine, absolute gent. And the kids on the show could not have asked for any better role model as far as how to navigate from going from being baristas at Starbucks to being international television stars, because it happened to him and he knew exactly how to guide it. Because I remember meeting Luke for the first time, and he said to me, he goes, well, this is pretty cool. It's a cool job. He goes, but if it gets taken away, I'll go back to my family's company and I'll lay blacktop in Ohio, and that's exactly who he was to his last breath. That was him. So I think everyone was really fortunate. He was just one of those people where, when someone passes away, you sit there and yes, it's a sad moment, but you can also say, man, I was really blessed to actually get a piece of that person in my life. and that's who Luke was to me.
Mm.
Yeah. Being a part of that tribute episode was really, it was like a really special thing. I didn't get, like I said before, like a lot of my scenes were with the Blossoms, and so I didn't have a chance to work with Luke directly a lot. We had one or two scenes together, and then I would obviously see him on set. And he was, like Lochlyn said, he was definitely like a sage, especially for a lot of us like younger cast members, and just like the nicest guy. He was so relaxed, I think was the biggest thing for me, because when you get on a set like that, where it's this new show, and especially when it started becoming really popular, and there's always just like, at least for me, there's like a level of tension, because you just have everybody who, you have conflicting egos, and like everybody's trying to do the best work that they can, and all that. And Luke was just this like chilled out, just a really relaxed energy on set, and that was really valuable to me as a performer, and as somebody who's still kind of fresh in the industry, or at least fresh on a high-end production set like that. And actually my manager, my talent manager, he was really close with Luke for a lot of years. Like they knew each other a lot, and Luke and I would swap stories when we got the chance. And so he was crushed. So, it was for me, just like knowing his legacy and how deeply he like touched the people that he was with, being a part of that episode. I don't know, it felt really important for me. And really, I'm just really glad that I was able to be there, because like for me as an actor, like I never know when I'm going to be on the show. I get signed just like for the episodes that I need to be in if they decide to write me in. And the fact that they thought to bring me in for that one was, I'm really, really thankful for that, because it was just really great for me, or it was just great to be a part of, and I'm glad that I did it.
Yeah. I never had the opportunity of actually meeting Luke Perry, and I got called on to do the that same episode. I was in the funeral scene, and I've lost a lot of like really close family members over the last couple years, and it felt real. Like I saw the pain and the loss like on that set that day, and it was real for everybody. Maybe it was almost like therapeutic in a way, like maybe it was just a way for a lot of people to say goodbye. But the emotions that you saw like on camera, like for that episode, were 100% real. Like the actors were going through it. They were saying goodbye, and like I felt it, and I even started to well up, because it just kind of made everything so real for the type of loss that I've experienced over the last couple years. And I was almost like saying goodbye again to some like really important people. And it was it's with loss, it's like it's I don't know, it's beautiful in a sense, because it allows you to sort of reflect the moments that you had with this person and just how wonderful they are. And sometimes there's a bit of a void in life after that person has departed. Like I'm just feeling it in my chest right now too, just talking about it. But yeah, what we went through on set that day, it was real. And I'm just so happy that that's the writers chose to pay tribute to Luke Perry.
Yeah. I remember reading the script for that episode for the first time, and like I got to the end, and I think it's like the very last line of Archie's speech at the funeral, where he says Fred Andrews will always be a part of Riverdale, and like it punched me in the gut. I teared up, like, because you could just swap Fred's name out for Luke's, and the message is the same.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's why we get that question so much. I've seen it on all the platforms now, because fans felt like they had a piece of Luke too from that show, and kind of going through all of that with the show. And so it's definitely something that hits hard for fans too. So thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. Before we wrap up, I just wanted to talk about you guys getting back to normal. I know, Lochlyn, before we started, you said you have a new project coming up. So I was wondering if you guys could tell us what you're working on next, where we can see you.
Well, for me, I've been very fortunate to have a few projects that are all sort of coming out that I was always able, because I wasn't always a big part of Riverdale. So I had lots of time to do other things. So that was the good thing about it. So I have a few things coming out, but right now I'm just shooting a TV movie for Hallmark up in Kelowna, British Columbia. So I'm doing that. And obviously it'll be a different protocol on how we get up and running, but that's one thing about the entertainment business and about being in the film business is that you're always adjusting in this industry. You're always adjusting. You're about to shoot a scene outside and it's raining. It's like, oh shoot, what do we do? You adjust. And that's what's great about people in this industry is that, we'll navigate the situation and we'll figure out a way to do it. And, we'll get back to creating product that'll entertain people and hopefully things will get back to normal when this all calms down and we can get a vaccine for COVID. But in the meantime, really it's all about trying to do what we can do and making sure that everyone stays safe and, we don't put anyone in a position that they don't want to be in. So.
Yeah, me personally, I'm just still working on getting out of bed before noon. So I'm not quite back to work yet.
You will be. Are you in Vancouver, Bernadette?
I'm in Vancouver, yeah.
Okay, yeah, you'll be back to work pretty quick. I know a lot of stuff's cranking up for the end of July and August.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I was seeing some stuff in Kelowna for sure. Yeah, it's cranking up here for sure.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm the only Riverdale cast member that doesn't work, so nothing for me. No, I actually do. Obviously, it's like not going to be quite back to normal because especially like SAG and everybody, they're putting in these new protocols on how sets are going to work. But I do have a project I think that's starting in August or September, and a lot of it's just going to depend on obviously how things shake out with those new protocols and how, if that's going to delay anything. But there's a project coming up and I actually have a couple films in the tank that are just waiting on distribution. So, if you want to see me, you probably won't have to wait too long. Who knows?
Cool.
Wonderful. Well, just, a reminder to the fans that are watching from all over the world. We still have the one-on-ones that you can purchase in the recordings and, get a little extra time. I know there's a lot of great topics that we talked about today, but if you really want to spend more time with these amazing people and talking about those things, you can head to the website, wizardworldvirtual.com and check those out. And then I wanted to give you guys a chance to thank the fans for watching and tuning in and give them a wave. And, you can't give them emojis back, but you can give them thumbs up if you want to.
I'll just fake them.
There you go. Do your favorite
100.
emoji.
Yeah.
Well done.
This is my favorite, the girl doing this.
Oh, you're the girl doing this?
Yeah.
I like the dancing girl. That's my favorite. Mm-hmm.
Well,
Perfect,
for me,
perfect.
I know that Bernadette and Trevor are staying on to meet with a bunch of fans after this. I will be back this Friday at 1:00 Pacific Standard Time. Is that right, Meg? I believe. So I will be.
So.
So I'll be doing that this Friday. So I look forward to meeting everyone and chatting and finding out what everyone's been up to. It's always interesting to see how everyone's dealt with the situation. So I will be back on Friday, but these two lovely people right below me are about to engage with a bunch of cool fans. So that's great. I wish you guys luck. Have fun.
Absolutely. And, you can still purchase those one-on-one experiences for Lochlyn, Bernadette, and Trevor, like I said. And fans, don't forget to head up to the virtual convention floor, which is, I don't know if you guys have been there. You should also head there. Very cool place to be. And now as we get ready to say goodbye, I want you, all the fans at home, to hit those emojis and clap along as we bid farewell to our guests today. It was so great to talk to you guys. It was an awesome way to spend an afternoon at home. Thank you for getting out of bed before noon, Bernadette. We're very happy to have you. So as they exit our virtual stage, AKA turning off their cameras, I want to say bye to Lochlyn.
Thank you.
Bye,
Thanks,
Lochlyn.
everyone. Thanks so much. Great to see you,
Bye.
Trevor. Bernadette, great to meet you. Keep rocking. Good luck in everything. Trev, you as well. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Same way.
Cheers, everyone. Thank you, Meg. Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.
And
Bye.
Bernadette, thanks for
Bye,
coming so
everyone.
much.
This was so much fun. It was great meeting you guys. And it was awesome connecting. And it gave me a reason to get out of bed before noon.
There you go. That's the best you can hope for in 2020, right?
Yeah. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks, Bernadette. All right. And Trevor, thank you so much. We're going to wish you well, and hopefully we'll get some more smizing from you in the future.
Yeah.
I hope you get to move your legs. No more coffin ice boxes for you.
I can't wait. Yeah, no, thank you guys for tuning in. Honestly, like, this was a lot of fun. I wish I could do another hour of this. Like,
well, as a matter of fact, me and you, Trevor, we're just going to, and just kidding. You can go.
Yeah, Lochlyn and Bernadette are amazing. And just getting to chat with them. It's like Lochlyn said earlier, like getting to chat with them when you don't always get a chance to work together on set. It's so fun. And getting to interact with the fans is so fun. Like, I wish we could have gotten more questions. I wish we could have this was just so much fun. I wish I could do more of it. And I'm really excited to go into the meet and greets and stuff. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I will talk to you guys soon.
They will be for purchase. So if you guys want to talk to Trevor, because Trevor wants to talk to you, go to wizardworldvirtual.com and you can purchase those one-on-ones and hang out with this cool guy and his giant jug of water, which will probably make an appearance.
I do. I feel bad because I wanted to warn you guys before I started that I'm going to be drinking from this gallon the entire time. I should get like just a water bottle so I don't look so very corny, but
we love it. Thank you so much, Trevor.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Hey, this is Alex Malari Jr., and you are watching Fandom Spotlight. Be sure to hit that like button, share, and subscribe. Your Emperor commands it. Thanks for watching.